So Sanjay, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
The first step to me is really to focus. We have this mindset in the world where, they say the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, but the reality is they built that much later in their careers. And I see, especially with, Gen Z entrepreneurs, is they want to do, they're hustling, they're grinding, they're doing so many different things, and it's not ever going to work, right? Like Alex Ramosi kind of said this, hey, remember that guy that did drop shipping? Secondly is build a team. Now, you can't always afford a team at first, but there's ways to get advisors, give them some equity, friends, family members, commission salespeople. There's all kinds of ways to really, teamwork makes the dream work. Like you're not going to ever have the full skill set for any business. You look at the media portrays this sort of narrative that like entrepreneurs are these heroic like solo figures like in the movies. Thirdly, I would say start with a problem you yourself have. Like even with Ronde, I started with one problem that I had at my previous venture, and then I ended up with a problem I had kind of selling that. You look at like Uber, you look at a lot of these companies, Slack. It wasn't their first idea, right? Like they just were in some kind of business, which didn't work out in the end, and they ran into some problem, and they started solving that problem for themselves. That ultimately resulted in them building, in some cases, billion-dollar or multi-million-dollar businesses. So make sure you understand the problem that you really feel like, hey, I want a world where I don't have this problem. The final step is really just, and I alluded to this early in the process, it's not just focus, but commit to the customer. We hear about sales-led growth versus product-led growth. To me, if you're in Silicon Valley and you can raise $50 million on something that's likely to fail, then, have at it. But if you really want, if you're building something for that will enrich you, not just the investors, but also